Oh,
We are
poop.
live. Can you see comments? Oh, I've pressed
Oh,
comments now, and
oh, yay!
can you see the comments? Because that's what we need to be able to
Yeah.
see, really. That's what we need to be able
You mean
to see.
like yes, I can see the comments
Oh, we're
here, and I
having
can.
trouble. Oh, it says we're having trouble streaming to Facebook. But this may be an issue on Facebook's end. Is it possible the stream was ended or deleted on Facebook? No, I haven't done anything like that. View on Facebook. Hang on. You're about to view oh, it says we're having trouble playing this video. How oh God.
So we
I
are
don't know.
live. We're live on one of my Facebook accounts and my Instagram account.
Oh, that's all right then, isn't it? Who's Catherine Eddy? Is she one of your ladies? Because she said there you are.
I don't know, but hi,
Catherine. Catherine, can you let us know, where are you watching from? Are you watching from? Oh, you're watching from YouTube, aren't you? I can see it. Yeah, because it's got that little red thing. Okay, well that's all right, because I've got mine going out on my It's just not working on Facebook. But is it working on your Facebook, Lana?
It is working on my Facebook, the
Instagram?
Energy Magic one, and it's working on my Instagram. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. We've managed to get out to Instagram. Okay, Catherine's watching it on my YouTube. Okay, thank you, Catherine. That's brilliant. Right, okay. Right, so we're not going to sit around and wait for everybody to turn up. There might only just be one person. Lana! Never mind, we're going to have a good time, aren't we? We're going to have a good old chat.
We are. It's going to be fabulous.
It is definitely. I've been looking forward to this for all day. What have you been doing today? What time is it your end in California?
It's 11 a.m. in California, in the West Coast of the U.S.
What's the weather like? You've got a bloody jumper on.
Oh, well, it's because the way our house is, it's really insulated and it stays really cool if it's, whatever, but it's actually quite warm outside.
Because you're in a
very
wood,
sunny
aren't you?
and nice.
You're surrounded by woods. Oh, describe it. How much?
Look out.
How much have you got? Any land?
Yeah, we're actually on 20 acres, and we're kind of on a hill, so we can, if I look this way, I can look out and see the hills, and there's like ridges, and so I can see very far, really, because we're on a hill, and like I can see one ridge and two ridge, and then it's a lot of fir and madrones and oaks, and there's some like meadows. It's really very lovely. Sometimes I can even see the elk roaming on the ridge way over there.
And now, is that an elk, like one animal, or is it a group of elk? Do you say elks?
It would be herds of elk.
Oh, herd of elk. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And they look like they're kind of deer-like, aren't they? What are they like?
Yeah, they look more like caribou. But yeah, they're big, and the males have these big giant antlers, and they're really beautiful creatures.
I bet. And they're wild.
They are wild, yes. Yes.
They're running wild. Amazing.
And delicious.
Well, we better not talk about that. We better not talk about that. Moving swiftly on. No. Honestly, that's life on the range, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about magic. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
talking on one of the on one of the most magical tides on a witch's calendar, on a lot of spiritual people's calendar, really, but the full moon. So I don't think we actually planned this consciously on a full moon, did we? It was just that it happened to be. That was the kind of dates were around this time, and then we grabbed it and said, yeah, let's do it on the full moon. What does the full moon mean to you, Lana? What does it mean to you?
Well, I have some very unpopular beliefs about the moon.
Oh, now you've got me hooked. I'm hooked now. Right. Come on. I'll put your feet up now.
Oh, geez, Louise.
Come on. I
Oh,
want to hear this.
boy.
Yeah, come on.
Well, so I do believe that the moon is not a natural satellite, that it is actually unnatural, and it was placed there with a very specific purpose of controlling women's reproductive systems and controlling, I mean, really, it really affects every single thing that has water in it on the planet Earth. And so, you know, when looking at it through that lens, it's like, wow, that gives, if somebody has control of the moon, they're really controlling all everything. And so people don't really, I don't really talk about it very much, because people really, they don't want to hear that the moon could be controlled by forces of darkness who are using it to manipulate us. Because it is, I mean, it is beautiful, it's up there. It's like,
I can see now why you might be thinking you could be leaning towards the unpopular stakes.
Yeah, I don't talk about it very much. I mean, I do think that we have found that, there are certain cycles of planting that with the moon that it actually is really very effective. And so I do believe that, whatever its original intention, it has such a huge effect on us that it is helpful to use it in order to plan certain things like planting or spells or whatever. And of course, as we know, as women, our periods do get linked up with it. And so, I don't totally discount it, because I think that there are alien forces that are using it to manipulate us.
Okay. So I was going to say, so you don't really see it as magical? Not really.
I mean, it is magical, and it has effect on magic, and it has effect on everything. So in a way, yes, I just, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to open a can of worms. Catherine says, Lana, do you watch the Gaia channel?
Not really, no.
Okay.
But I do know there is well, there's a man, I'm totally blanking on his name right now. Oh, Billy Carson, who talks a lot about the moon, and I imagine he has some stuff on the Gaia channel. He talks about, he offers evidence that it's an artificial satellite as opposed to a naturally, existing body.
Okay. So there was a glimpse. There was a couple of mentions of magic so far. So let's steer back to magic. Let's keep it safe. Sorry, Lana. Oh, Christ.
I could have warned you.
The next black hole. I just want to zip into it. Okay. Can you define your own take on magic? Your own, what is your magic, or your understanding of magic, your perspective, your story? I'm just sitting back and listening to this.
Yeah, so I think of magic basically as, I mean, almost things that are just unseen in the world that are changing and shifting the world. So magic could even really be like the energy field of a tree, or I mean, really everything. So I have this very broad idea of what magic is. I think that the fact that our bodies automatically breathe for us, we just automatically breathe. That to me is magical. I think the
Definitely.
magic is what the universe is made of. It is like in every fiber of our beings. And I would even just call magic just consciousness. And so, which I think is in everything, even the walls and even this computer and the, all the things. Yeah. So what's your
Yeah.
definition of magic, my friend?
Well, I kind of share yours. Really, I love the whole idea. I love the way you've described that, because I'm kind of nodding, and that's resonating with me totally. I agree. It's this whole kind of expansive, and it gets bigger, because I see it in everything. I hear it in everything. To me, and my work is kind of focused mainly around the magic of nature, because therein lies the nature of magic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the magic of music, Lana. I love music, because anything to me. So if I'm kind of analysing it, streamlining it a bit more, I think I would say, and you've already said it, as consciousness. And to me, magic is an energy that is transformative. We can change things with a magical intention. I mean, if you think of the magician in the tarot cards, he is, the whole idea of the magician is that he can alter his state of consciousness through acts of magic, through harnessing and bringing down, from the heavens, from those multidimensional places everywhere. He can work with that and earth it. And that to me is magic, So, and I have always loved being in an altered state of consciousness. I mean, I think as humans, no, honestly, I'm not that I'm always in an altered state. Well, no, come on, let's get real about this. Our consciousness is altering the whole time, isn't it? Let's face it. But since I was very young, I've always enjoyed, and still do, finding ways to alter my state of consciousness, whether that is changing the company I'm with, or whether it's got to be careful here what I'm saying, doing something different, like being with an animal, being with horses. Horses are magical to me. I had a 30-year career with them, and gradually that's changed. Teaching, social situations, I used to love drinking. I don't drink anymore, maybe the odd glass of me, but like you, I don't drink anymore. But I'm up for any other ways of changing my consciousness, because honestly, and that's why I love shamanic journeying, and that's I love working in ritual, because that changes your consciousness. You are almost in a different state of consciousness before you've even started, I mean, I could go on and on and on and on, but to me, magic is a transformative, massive energy that probably, that's my understanding at the moment. That's going to change, isn't it? Because we change. But again, magic to me is about change, isn't it? It's about changing from one state into another. Watching the sunset. It's hard, 7:20 here at the moment, and the sun will be going down in about an hour, and I find that amazing. Just watching the sunset, watching the sunrise, watching a baby watching an animal being born. Sometimes, not all the time, but it's miraculous, isn't it? Life. I think life is totally magical. Our life in in this world, you know, and I know that you work in consciously in many different sort of dimensions. So, and you sort of class yourself as a multi-dimensional healer, don't you? What is
Yeah.
that? Can you explain what that is so people get some understanding?
Yeah, so you're saying that you really work with, like, the magic of nature, and so me as a sort of juxtaposition to that, I would say that, like, I work with the magic of humans, which I know you
Mm.
do as well, but also sort of the magic of the universe, and so I do work with nature, but it's not, like, really specifically my, like, focus. It's mostly, like, I use the what I believe is the structure of the universe and the various dimensions. So I believe that for right now, like this could change at any time. We live in a 15-dimensional time matrix, and that there are dimensional bands. So there's like the first density, second, third, fourth, fifth, and we right now are living in the first density, which is dimensions 1, 2, and 3. But we have access as human beings to 12 dimensions. And so I use that access that I believe that we have through these 12 dimensions in order to help guide people into these different energies and help call the different energies in and utilize the different dimensions in order to like shift things in the 3D physical world. And so, yeah, that's how I think of my multidimensional healing. Yeah.
Wow, that's far out. I mean, it is far out, isn't it? It's for anybody that's not your normal sort of mainstream, even new age, or I mean, we are hearing a lot more about. I am anyway about 3D. Is that what you're talking about? 3D, 3D, 5D, that kind of thing. It is, isn't it?
I mean, I'm talking about all of the Ds, 1D, 2D,
Yeah,
3D,
yeah,
4D, 5D, 6, 7, 8,
yeah. 16 of them. 16 of them, did you say, or 15?
Well, so I believe that in like the way that this particular universe is set up, the majority of our sort of like spaces for incarnating as an entity that as entities that are not really separate from God, but that are sort of like pieces of God broken off and able to experience their own little things is kind of limited to the 15 dimensional, like, I don't want to call it a sphere, but realm that is sort of encompassing us. I do believe that there are dimensions beyond that, but in terms of the universe, this universe, and how we what we sort of have access to. Yes, I believe it's 15
Yeah.
dimensions right now. That could change at any moment.
Odd. Bloody hell. Listen, where did you get all these beliefs? How did that come about? Because clearly our beliefs create our reality, don't they? Our beliefs create our experiences. So where did that all kind of start? Where did it come from?
Well, for me, it started with when I was first introduced to DNA activation and light body clearing.
Right.
That work in and of itself is all based around the idea that we're in a 15-dimensional time matrix and that humans were designed to have access to 12 dimensions, and that our biological bioenergetic magnetic systems were tamped down, and so we don't naturally have the access we were meant to have. And so the whole purpose of that work is actually to clear things that are blocking us from really fully embodying our like divine blueprint and our divine kind of God being selves that we're really designed to be. So that's how I got into that.
Right. Where does that so yeah, I know that was the kind of your first kind of foray into healing, wasn't it? That when you got into that, that was kind of your kind of healing journey. But where does that come from? Where does that kind of philosophy, who introduced that idea? Oh God. I really put you on the spot, haven't I? Sorry about
No,
this, Lana, but
it's
I
fine.
know these.
It's just that my beliefs are so crazy to most people. That's why I'm laughing. It's not because I'm like ashamed, or it's just,
No.
I mean, it's just people are going to be like, okay, that's a little crazy. And that's fine. Like, I don't need people to not think I'm crazy. They always have, even before I believe this stuff, anyways. So, most of the information around the work that I do has come from, um, well, aliens who were working with certain people that were, what do they call them? They're sort of like, I don't want to call them emissaries. That's not the right word. But there were certain individuals who kind of sort of signed up to be the translators. That's what they are. They're translators. And so these various off-planet human-like beings, or humanoid, I should say, humanoid beings, um, sort of uploaded information into them, and so that they could translate. And I mean, it's so vast, the information, and there's multiple different people who received exactly the same information, and it's not even written in the same way, because you can tell that it was written by different people. And then another one of the teachers that I worked with, kind of more personally, he got a lot of his information from the avatar Babaji Naharaj, not Maharaj, Nagaraj, sorry. So he got his information from Babaji, who was a fancy yogi guy a very long time ago, who now comes
Yeah.
down and like shares his wisdom with certain people. And so yeah, it's basically from people who are translators from either off-planet beings, or kind of like what we think of as ascended master beings.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Wow. And do you so what about your kind of friends? Have you got friends? Obviously, you must have friends that kind of have the same beliefs, or are you kind of are you on an island by yourself, Lana? Are you have you totally ostracized yourself by your beliefs? Or are there others in your camp?
Some of my friends are on board for some of the stuff. I don't think any of my friends are on board with the moon stuff, but I have a very small little chunk of friends who can get with most of the stuff that I am bringing. But I really don't want to hijack our conversation with bizarre beliefs.
But that's the way it's going. We got to go with the flow, haven't we? We got to go with the flow. Okay, you choose where we go from here then.
Yeah, so we've talked a little about where sort of some of my healing magic works in, and that's sort of in this multidimensional sphere. I also incorporate like very like shamanic practices into my work, and so I would like to hear about how your magic healing works, and what that kind of entails, and how you work with nature and these other forces to make change.
Yeah, good question. I'll try and keep it concise. We might go for the tangent somewhere, as does happen. But I think that I mean, I think I've been kind of witchy. I've been on that wavelength since I was a kid, because I loved being outside. I loved being with animals. I had a whole career, 30 years with horses, who saved my life on many levels. and they are, to me, one of the most magical animals on the planet. But then I kind of started, and when I was about in my teens, I started getting into the tarot, but it was astrology, it was the cosmos, it was that whole kind of wow, that kind of where you probably started too, in some ways, you know,
Yeah.
wondering what else there was, where we came from, what put us here, you know. But I got into the whole sun signs thing, you know, and that, because I was fascinated by people and what made people tick, and wasn't it amazing that there were certain people that you could categorized into certain groups of sun signs when they were born, that they would share the same traits, and that fascinated me. But I quickly got into the tarot because it was like a portal into the magical arts. So I got into the tarot and then started playing around with the tarot. I love symbolism. I love imagery. You know, I love pretty beautiful things, and somehow, and because I love people as well, somehow I found that working with cards tuned me into that person's energy on some level, because I could tell how people, I've always been able to tell what sort of mood people are in, you know, read people. And I thought that everybody could do that, but maybe not, you know. So yeah, the tarot kind of fine-tuned, if you like, my intuition. And then what did I do? Then I worked with horses. Then I that kind of spiritual interest in spiritual stuff, the magical arts, just expanded. And then I got into witchcraft because that resonated with me, because it was a combination of that connection with the earth, you know, and the magic of nature, and real shamanic stuff that just felt so natural. And I kind of pieced it all together. And somewhere along the line, I became a Reiki master. So I added that to my toolkit. So there were cards. There were the cards which I became professional at about 20 odd years ago. Then there was the Reiki and other modalities that I've done as well, that I don't know about you. I know that you have got like a range of tools in your toolkit, but there are some modalities, Lana, that I don't use anymore. I mean, like, for example, I trained in thought field therapy, which was a thing sort of about 10 years ago, I suppose. And I only used it on a couple of clients because it felt so sterile to me. I think they call it EFT now, or emotional therapy, you know, tapping that. Yeah. And I found it mind-blowing and loved it when I was doing it. I had to really concentrate hard because it was real, sort of the theory of it was, you know, it's a whole kind of list of things. But I think the fact was that there was too much structure. And it felt like it felt like you're in a clinical situation when you're sitting there with your noteboard and asking people to tell you on a scale of 1 to 10 how they felt about such and such. Do you know what I mean? That just, to me, I don't like working like that. I prefer to work with people much more intuitively and with wonderful imagery like the cards. You know, who wouldn't want to work with those? Except they're upside down. No, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So, and then I joined the coven about 20 years ago and decided that I wanted to learn about, you know, being a witch. And I did, and I'm still there in the same coven. We've changed a little bit, but I'm still with the core members of that coven, and we're a bunch of crones, really, you know, which is lovely because we've got there's quite a lot of wisdom there between us, and yet we still experience a magical life with all the ups and downs that goes with it, you know. But I think you do learn as you go along that, you know, we as human beings, we've got these challenges are never going to go away. They're always going to be there for us. But if you've got the tools that can help you, I found early on, I think as you have done, that they worked for me. So why wouldn't they work for others? And that's how it happens, isn't it? You start playing with whatever tools you've got,
Yeah.
using them on others, and then you end up, that's part of your, I mean, a session with me is a combination of all those things, you know. So cards, a crystal Reiki session, because I love working with crystals. I did a crystal healing course years ago now, and I'm not sure that I could even say that I'm qualified as a crystal healer, but you know, I just say, oh, I like crystals. I like working with stones as cards, as I do cards. But and then of course music came in very early on. I've always loved music since I was a kid. You know, was a punk years ago. Then I got into heavy metal. Then yeah, and then I got into writing and all those things, Lana. I've merged them all, you know. So now I am basically a bard. You know, I work with the power and the magic of music, and in different forms: stories, songs, poems, chants, and then I've got my healing sort of practices as well. Yeah, so it's all a bit of a mishmash, really. It just all kind of alchemizes, doesn't it? And like, for example, yesterday I was doing a tarot reading for somebody. You know, last week I did a Reiki session for somebody. I love that is part it. My work feels so diverse because it's never the same. I'm not sat at my laptop the whole time, although I have been all day today near enough, bloody farting around with my website and promoting on social media. Hey, you know, so I think I'm a bit of a techno. I think we're techno witches, aren't we, as well? If you could say what kind of a witch would you define your, what would it be?
Oh, I don't think that I don't think I could, because I think you did a really good job of describing it. It's like when it becomes um such a big part of your life, it's a lifestyle. So it's like
Yeah,
everything you do, you're taking magic
yeah,
into. And like you're weaving
yeah,
magic into your songs, and like, same thing.
yeah,
I'm weaving magic into my website. I'm putting magic into all my posts. It's part of who we
yeah.
are. It's not necessarily like I mean, yeah, I mean, sometimes maybe I'll do a spell, but like it's not like I have to do a spell to do magic.
No, no, definitely not. Definitely not. No, not at all. No, no. Our lives do become naturally magical if that's what we're focusing on. I think whatever we focus on, we become. Um,
Yeah.
and if we're planting those seeds of magic into our minds, which they have been planted, and we nourish that soil, that fertile soil in our minds, on the inner planes, we nourish and we cultivate and we sow those seeds continually all the time, because that's our intention setting, then that has no choice but to produce in the outer world. It produces, and that's what manifestation is, I think. People bandy around this whole manifestation thing, and oh, this is a cool, I mean, I did a program at the beginning of this year on money manifesting. So who am I to talk, Sheena, for God's sake? But it was really interesting. I loved it. I thought, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a short program on money manifesting in 28 days, and let's see what happens. And I worked with a group of people with about 23 students, and I did a live workshop every week for 4 weeks. And we did and I kind of used my latest book, which is called Riches for Witches. I used that book as a bit of a template, some of the practices in that book. But I tell you, my not whole perspective, but I changed over that period of time, just in focusing on that subject. I changed, afterwards I was like,
Yeah.
Nah, I'm really not into all this marketing lark. Sorry, but I don't want to be just focused on fucking money the whole time. I don't want to be focused on sales. I haven't got that much interest in money. I've got it, I've got as much interest as that. Abundance to me, I'm going off track now. I'm sorry about this, but this is how it affected me, because I love talking about abundance, and I love working with the vibration of abundance. And to me, abundance is having everything we need, really, everything that we need, as plenty of everything that we need. If we kind of
Yeah.
accept and believe that the whole time, then why do we have to strive and chase and more money? I can understand from the point of view of many people. They've got to earn a living, and I would love to make a living out of what I do, but I don't yet. I don't. When you're writing a book, you spend months, years working before you see any kind of financial return on that. Doing the healing, if I do a reading, like I did a reading yesterday, I got cash in hand. Lovely. Thank you very much. That paid for half the shopping yesterday. Wonderful. And if I do a Reiki session, lovely. Thank you very much. Cash in hand. But I don't do a lot online. I wouldn't mind doing a bit more online because it would help. Another couple of readings a week would be really good. But I don't want to get into doing programs and courses now, because I wouldn't have time to write then, Lana. Do you see what I mean? So you have to make that decision, because books are my main offer. Books and music are my main offer. Now, they're pretty low ticket. You don't pay a lot of money for a book, and you don't pay a lot of money for a CD or an album. But so what? You have got to sell more of those. But the thing is, we go out to festivals with the band. We got quite a lot of gigs coming up over the next few months, and I'm really looking forward to that because I love it. It's like social, A lot of the gigs we don't even do for, we don't even get paid for. But if there's a good exchange, if there's a fair exchange, we stay on camp at the festival, or we get our expenses paid or whatever.
Yeah.
But so you can tell probably just by the way I'm talking that I'm not sure. I'm not really a business witch. I don't know. Am I? Not really. I'm confessing.
Well, I think that that's probably true, but the thing that I'm really picking up from what you're saying, and I think this is really relevant to our topic, is that part of healing and feeling really in your power is actually aligning your life with things that you love.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I think that in and of itself is like an act of healing, and it is an act of healing not just for you, but for the entire world. I feel like those kind of things resonate out that's like, so you're not going to be a millionaire, whatever, you're having a lovely life that you are like bringing joy into the world and healing and doing these beautiful things, and your music is lovely, and people, I'm sure, just love it, and it brings them joy. That to me, the magic of music is so transmutative. It can just shift a person's reality in a moment. Live music, or even recorded, is lovely too, but it can just shift everything for a person. And I think that's magic, and that's healing to me. So you might not be a biz witch, but you are a music witch and a nature witch, and maybe a little bit of an herb witch. I don't know.
I know a bit about herbs, but I wouldn't say I'm not even a kitchen witch or anything. I'm a bardic witch, I think, really. I'm a bard.
Yeah.
Music, song, writing stories. Yeah. And I really resonate with a lot of shamanic practices. I love working in person with people since the back end of last year, which I think, we're still reeling from that bloody pandemic hangover. I'm sure many of us are. I know that I was for a long time, probably still am. But it's only the back end of only last year, 2023, when we started kind of, going out and enjoying going out again and seeing our friends again, and so I like working for the community. So these couple of in-person groups that I run are one's in my village and one's in the next village, and they're monthly groups. And the one in the next village I've been doing for about 6 months, and I call that Hedge Riders because, yeah, you're right, I probably am a little bit of a hedge witch as well, because hedge witchery in the hedge is the boundary between the worlds, and we cross the hedge, so it's a threshold into the magical realms. So we cross the hedge on our broomsticks and in our heads, and basically I have people, I work in sacred space. I love working in sacred space. That comes from years of working in ritual in Coven. I think that's where that comes from. And I open up the sacred space. Everybody kind of lies down, gets comfortable, sits down, whatever's comfortable for them. And basically I bang my drum, which is, I've got it here actually. I'll show you. I made this drum. I made it after our podcast interview a couple of months ago. I made this bloody drum. Look at it. Isn't it gorgeous?
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
And I tell you what, I don't know anything about crystals, Lana, but this crystal, which is tied into the drum, right? It's buffalo skin. And this crystal, oh no, I'm probably going to forget what it's called now. Azezturite, it's called Azezturite. And when I've had this crystal for years, okay, and it's not very nice to look at. It looks a bit discolored. It's like a dirty quartz crystal, really, kind of yellowy, and it looks like it's been in this, been sort of out in the sun for too long. But when I knew that I was going to this drum birthing thing, and she said, bring a crystal, because we'll put a crystal into the drum, and whatever it means to you. So I looked up Azezturite. Guess what it is? Guess what it means? This is going to freak you right out.
It has something to do with rituals and journeys.
Interdimensional channeling.
I love it.
Yeah, I knew you love it. So when I bang my drum, and when we had a meditation in the drum birthing thing, we had a meditation. That was how the day started. Oh, I loved it. And it was in the hall that I do my hedge riding circle. So it was perfect. Do you know what I mean? And it's right by a wood. So surrounded by oak trees. Oh my God, it couldn't have been more magical than that. But when we did this meditation to meet the spirit of our drum, I met my spirit of the drum, and I asked him what, and it was an old guide of mine that I've had for many years, and he hasn't appeared for years, and he just appeared back on, and of course it was a Native American, but he's been with me for a long time. He appeared and he said, and I said, what is this drum for? Please tell me what this drum is for. And he said, it's for healing. So I now use that drum in that hedge riders circle, which is a healing circle, let's face it. And it's amazing. The fact that I made this in that space and now I'm using it, I just think that's magical. And I've been using it for, and I do another circle tomorrow night. I just started that with another friend of mine. It's more of a divine sort of goddess thing, for women. And I take it there. So yeah, sorry, I really went off on a tangent there, but That is a tool that's only recently come into my life, but my life has kind of changed since it's arrived. It's
Yeah.
it is magical. It is magical. It's just because it's
So
kind of
I think you're
I feel like
making
I've upped my game.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
go
feel
on.
like you're making a really good statement that can actually really be applied universally to people in general. Well, there's a couple ones in there that I was like, ooh. So gathering in groups is a really powerful way to increase the magic of intention, of healing, of all the things. So gathering in groups is so powerful for people, and it's like I feel like it's really important for us to be doing that at this time with these like groups of
Yeah,
people for healing or magic or whatever. And then also specifically just having women's spaces where we're doing women's groups of healing and magic, because it's like we're in a phase now where it's time for women to sort of rewrite the script. Like if we want the patriarchy to come down, it's kind of going to be in charge of women to really figure out what the way forward is together in spaces
yeah,
where it's just women, and then bring that out into the world. So like even having a
yeah.
women's group of just women and then having a larger group that's like all the people, is I think
Mm,
could be really powerful, because there's almost like you're taking that magic and that power from the women's group into the bigger one. And then also,
mm,
the tools of magic. We all have different tools of magic, and it's like that drum has changed your life, like
mm.
you probably didn't even realize that was going to happen. And so it's like,
No.
when the opportunity arises for each of us, like these magical tools will present themselves. Like I behind you, me right there, you can barely see her, is my broom, uh, Alexandra. You could just see the broomstick right there. She's hanging up right there.
I think so, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And like that's a magical tool for me. I use her to like clean the energies of the house, and I dance with her at our coven gatherings, and and like
Excellent.
I use her when I talk to the weather, when if it's raining and everyone's like, "Ah, it's raining," and everybody runs inside. I go out there with my broom and I'm like, "Ah," like talking to the rain spirits with her. And so, yeah, I think that you've just touched on some really beautiful things about like the magic of gathering in groups and the magic of using these tools. And also like something I know, I mean, this is also a belief, but I know it, is that the crystal beings, those little crystals, a crystal, because I believe they have consciousness, and that they're, here, they're very willing to work with us, and they love to be told and asked, like, "Hey, can you help me?" Like, I got one right here. "Hey, selenite, will you help me like stay clear and present?" And like whatever. And the selenite will be like, "Yeah."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
I I I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, I've got so many crystals. All I mean, I'm sitting in my healing room. We've called this the healing room for years, and deliberately came in here today because all my lives recently and my workshops have been in my office, which is okay. It's, nice background, loads of books, but I've been in there all day today, and I thought I've got to have a change. I've got to be somewhere different, and I actually did give this a good old spring clean yesterday because I had somebody coming for a reading, and my son's been living in here was living in here a few weeks ago because he was decorating his room, so he lived in here, and so yeah, it needed a good old spring clean afterwards. So I did that yesterday, and the energy feels lovely, and my altar's nice and clean, and I've got candles, and my incense is going, and I've got my tools around me, and so I needed to be here for our talk. I didn't want to be. I could have been in there, but I thought no, I need to change. You know, I need to have my things
Yeah.
around me. And yeah, it makes us feel different, doesn't it? It makes us feel different.
Yeah. What do you think
So
about giving us a little bit of your healing drum?
yeah. What do you want me to do? Just bang
Yeah.
it.
Just like
Okay.
maybe just bang it with some we'll just send out some healing out into everybody who's, here with us and
Oh,
all the times.
can you hear it?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So let's try and just sort of kind of relax into that beat. And just follow the beat of the drum. See if you can connect that to your own heartbeat. Your heart, which has been with you from the minute you were conceived in this incarnation. Your beloved heart. And just dropping into that space, the heart space. And first of all, breathing in that healing energy for ourselves. And just taking that through the heart space, filling up our cells, spreading around our body, healing us, taking the time, this time just for ourselves, just to breathe in that love, that magic for who we are, our true magical nature. And just wherever we may feel that we need healing at this time, on a conscious level or an unconscious level, may we receive that healing. May we know that that healing is going to the right place and that we will benefit from that healing energy on whatever level we need it. Taking in another deep belly breath and sending out those healing energies to all those in need, to the planet, to the animals, to the trees, to the earth, to our mother, the stones, the plants, and those two-legged little things called humans. I think we need the most healing. The two-legged variety. We need it. And we need each other. And we need to heal each other. And keep breathing out that healing for each other, for the planet, for the mother, for the cosmos. The magic is done.
Mm.
Come back into the room, Lana.
That was lovely.
Good.
back into my body.
Just a bit of a taster. Oh yeah, I've started doing your tapping. I like that tapping.
Yeah, it's not quite so regimented. It's just, talking to the cells, really.
Yeah, I know. And it brings us into our bodies, doesn't it? It brings us into our bodies, which I think, particularly people who are first starting any kind of spiritual work, it is so important to stay grounded. It's important to be grounded before you begin any spiritual work, but it's important to come back and ground afterwards. And it's so important because if we don't come back into our bodies, we're floating around somewhere and we can't function properly on the earth plane. Would you agree with that? I mean, what are your thoughts on that about grounding?
Yeah.
Because I know you do a lot of body work, don't you?
Yeah. I believe that grounding is, one of the most important things for everyone, because human beings are all really sensitive creatures, even people who consider themselves tough and not sensitive and all those things, whatever. That's not even real. Human beings are we're all senders and receivers of information. It's just coming and going all the time. We're super sensitive. And so one of the ways to just because, we get, even with our mind, we don't even have to be going on spiritual journeys or anything. Our mind can get us bzzz. And so just coming back
You're
down,
absolutely
grounding is massively powerful.
Yeah. 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 I know. I had somebody contact me. This has happened to me a few times, actually. People will contact me, normally online, and say, I need a spell for so-and-so. Can you give me a spell for so-and-so? And or I need a spell for this particular thing. And it's normally protection, and I'll come back and because let's face it, there are plenty of spells. There's plenty of information to find a spell for something if you really need it. But my advice, my tip for those people that come for that is the most grounding and protective thing you can do for yourself is to look after your mind, is to cultivate a sound mind, because that imbalance mentally, can just throw us into such areas of darkness, as we know, you and I know, Lana, that and I think that's, as wounded healers, wouldn't you say, we have that empathy, we have that knowingness of why we need to heal, and what is that slippery slope. It's a spiral descent. If you allow your mind to become controlled by something else, and I'm talking about addictions and dependencies, which, as you know, you're the expert at this, we can be addicted to anything, can't we? It's not just the normal run-of-the-mill sex, drugs and rock and roll. It can be anything we can be addicted to. Can't we?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I feel like keeping sort of a critical eye on our consciousness is basically the root of all healing. Because
mental health,
things,
definitely.
it just and thoughts our thoughts can just like you said, we can just spiral into unhealthy places and spaces and create we can basically harm ourselves by fixating on negative thoughts or getting stuck in patterns of suffering, and then that translates into the cells. It just translates into our energy body. It really does. And so I think from my perspective, one of the biggest things with healing, like the body or whatever, is really working with the mind and
Mm.
really getting a grip and a control over one's own consciousness and being and like really fully trying to come aware and awake and cognizant of like, where are you putting your energy, what kind of patterns are you repeating. Like, I talk to people
Mm.
about their personal lives all the time, and it's in the sessions that I do, the one-on-one sessions, and people will tell me, I'll have them like, okay, what's going on and what do you want to change, basically, and they'll tell me these things that have been going on. Oh, I was dating this person and XYZ happened, and oh, then we broke up, and then I was dating another person and it was like XYZ happened all over again. And I'm like, yeah, because that's a subconscious programming. That could be an inherited program, and it could be like a mental it's like, so the more that we can become aware of ourselves and our patterns and our programs and like our the ruts that we keep getting ourselves stuck in, the more we can, like, the sooner that we can get ourselves out of them. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
the work that you and I
Yeah.
do is really helpful and powerful for people, and everybody should work with us. But
Yeah.
also people can do this stuff on their own. They can like get control of their energy fields, and they can get control of their consciousness. And it's not it might be a little hard at first, but once you start, it starts becoming easier and easier, like the sort of the farther you go into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, for me, that's why I love working with the cards, because I will consciously work with a particular card, have it on display on my altar or by my bedside table or in my office, on my desk or whatever, just to remind me of the energy of that card is the energy that I need to be embracing at that time, like when I'm writing. Quite often I'll have the swallow from the Magic of Nature, because swallow in the Magic of Nature is all about focus, and these are my own oracle deck which I created with my sister. So I've written the guidebook, so I know the meanings of these cards, and I love working with them. And let me just see if I can find swallow. Oh, there's heron. I love heron. These are gorgeous. I mean, look at these. Have you seen these,
I
Lana?
have. I have checked them out. Yeah, they're really, really beautiful.
They are beautiful, but oh, I don't know. Where is he? Oh, that's a gorgeous one. Look, I love him. Creativity. Hair.
Oh, yeah.
He's beautiful, isn't he? Look at this.
He is beautiful.
People normally pick this one when they're in the
Oh.
darkness. Gorgeous.
Right.
Isn't it gorgeous?
He's
And
very sweet.
I know. And moles are all about being in the dark, because they spend all their lives in the dark.
Yeah.
But it's about finding comfort in the darkness and
Yeah.
recognizing that you're there for a reason, divine timing, and that the key thing is to ask what the darkness can teach you. What can the darkness teach me? And it's always something healing. It's always something that you can take forward on your healing journey and think, oh, wow, yeah. I mean, when I was going through the perimenopause, I mean, you probably haven't even got there yet, have you? You're much younger than me.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when I was going through the perimenopause, I went through an early change. So this was about 43, 44 I was. I'm 62 now, right? And I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know what the bloody hell was going on. It was like having a sort of premenstrual tension, PMT. It was like having that permanently, but really badly as well. I never really suffered from any of those things. But suddenly having PMT, your hormones all over. It was like being an adolescent, but at the age of 43, 44, I was like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? It was like really mind-blowingly horrible on so many levels. And I won't bore you with the whole story, but the main thing that the main guide that I reached out for at that time was the crone, the crone
Yeah.
goddess. She was my salvation. And I called on her all the time. I needed that kind of spiritual energy, because to understand also that the spiritual nature of what I was going through, physically I was experiencing it, but I wanted and I needed to have that spiritual understanding, and it was greatly helpful. It was so helpful. No doctor can tell you that. Not my doctor couldn't anyway. She was reaching for a bloody textbook on the shelf. We'll have a look for see if we. I mean, I think there's a lot more information now that women have on it, but I think I was so glad of my spiritual path and the support that I received spiritually. But I asked for that. I think I think we have to ask for it if we need it. And that's something that I've learned to do all along from there, really, is to and that strengthens your connection with your guides and the help in the invisible realms. Whatever those realms are, you strengthen that connection by having a relationship with them. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you do as well. You work with your guides and your masters and teachers. I mean, you don't just suddenly call on them when you haven't talked to them for a month and go, oh, by the way, I need your help. That's not very nice, is it? It's not very polite. It's not very friendly, is it?
You
Have a
know,
relationship with them.
I personally think mine don't really mind if I don't talk to them for a while, but
Really?
I think their concept of time is slightly different than ours. So like a year
Yeah,
can pass and I might be like, "Oh, hey, I was just thinking about you." And then they're like, "Oh, hello." And so like to them that could be, they're in a completely different dimension. That could have just been a blink of an
yeah,
eye if they have them.
yeah, yeah,
But I do agree that like cultivating these relationships, and like you said, that guide that was there and then he was gone and then he was back when you got the drum. It's like
yeah,
I have guides from when I was younger that like I don't really we just they're just not they've moved on to something else, and whether or not they'll come back, who knows. But like, we had this relationship and they would talk to me and share things with me and help me with things, and now they're and like, for example, I had a penguin when I was first learning shamanic journeying and things like that. And penguins, they're the
oh,
kind of like
penguins.
the spiritual the thing behind symbolism behind penguins is that they are, because they swim and then they shoot out of the water and then they're on land, and so their whole thing is like one of those kind of walker between the worlds type of
Yeah,
things. And
yeah,
so I had this penguin guide that was like really in my life all the time when I was first getting into shamanic journeying. And it was like, I don't even know how much we really like talked about it, but it's like I would journey and I would go visit him in the the underworld, um, or the other world, however you want to think people want to call it. And we would chat and talk, and he would kind of like share things with me. And I think like it wasn't always even about like what he was talking about so much as the energy. And he was like kind of imparting to me this energy of being a walker between the worlds, of being
mm,
this having this energy of and this frequency and this like ability to just easily slide in and out of realities.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and really, you've nailed it there, and it'd be a great thing to kind of round up on, wouldn't it? Really, because we've been yapping on for over an hour now, and I don't even know if anybody's watching, but who cares? I mean, we've
There's
got
some
the
people
thing
watching.
to watch. It doesn't matter. I'm sure there is, but uh, you saying that. I mean, that is exactly what we are. We are walkers between the worlds. We're magic. If you practice magic, if you're a magical practitioner, a shaman, a witch, a healer, you know, we are walkers between the worlds, and we have a foot in each, and if we can like you say, travel, cross over, come back, bring back the messages that we need to bring back, the information, you know, and that's our readings, that's our healing sessions, and help people to do the same, you know, teach people to do the same, because I feel that in my work at the moment, particularly my group, in-person group work, I am holding the space so that people can experience that themselves. You know, sometimes I think, oh, I really would like somebody to do a journey for me so I could just sit down and I could just have a journey, you know, but my time will come. My time will come. Obviously that's happened to me before. I've had lots of, you know, but at the moment this is my role. This is my job. You know, I see it, and it's not even a job. It's a calling. It is a calling. I think we are compelled to do this work, you know, and for me, Lana, as long as I feel the exchange is equal, I'm getting back what I need from it, which to me is satisfaction, pleasure, you know, joy. And that's a good enough reward. As long as I'm not out of pocket financially, fine. But you know, I don't seem to be I say be able to. I don't know whether I really want to, you know, move into I mean, I say that one of the things I want is financial freedom, but I don't know whether I want to work for it. Quite happy just doing this. Anyway.
I do. I do. I mean, I do think it is really important for there to be an energy exchange. And
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
you know, they're like, I not like, for example, like I do sliding scale in my one-on-one sessions so that people can kind of like choose where their comfort level is in terms of like what amount of energy they can provide. And like sometimes people are like, I can't afford it at all. I can't even afford $10. And I'm like, okay, well, let's figure out something so that there is some kind of exchange. And like, so before we go out, I really do want to just emphasize to everybody watching that every single one of you out there is so powerful. You are so magical. You are so capable. And like, I mean, it has been like proven. This isn't just a bunch of witches saying some crazy stuff. It has been proven that you can use your consciousness to heal yourself. Like,
I know.
it's been proven. So, like, every single person out there is capable of using their consciousness and, you know, the way I think of it, claiming their power and using their magic, which, you know, it's just sort of floating around. It's just a matter of like grabbing it and putting it into something, and that can be into words, intention, action. You know, there's various different ways to practice magic, but every single one of you people out there is powerful and magical and beautiful and perfect. And so whatever it is you want to do, whatever you want to overcome, whatever it is, you are fully 100% capable of it. And I think a really good place to start actually is self-love. I think that's a really good place for magic to grow, is in the and not just the idea of self-love, thinking about it like, oh, okay, like I'll just love myself. It's the act of self-love, which involves, you know, holding yourself in a place of love, forgiving yourself for all the things. And you know, somebody pointed out recently that boundaries is a very important part of my self-love practice. And yes, I'm fully on board for that as well. Yes, boundaries is a really valuable piece of the sort of self-love puzzle. And so, yeah, I think that's one of the most important things I could say to anyone ever, is that you are magic, you are power, your consciousness can change the world and change your personal world. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, our minds are so potent. Our thoughts are forces. They're forces of energy, you know, and they have got so much potential. And if, as it has been proven, that our thoughts can make us ill, because they can, we know that, just by negative
Mhm.
thinking and berating ourselves, and so much unforgiveness, blaming others, blaming, not even taking any responsibility for our lives, but just on this kind of negative spiral downwards. We know that that will manifest as some kind of illness. It has to, in the physical. But it begins up here. So if that's the case, then why can't we heal ourselves with our thoughts as well? We know that we can do that. Stress is the precursor of all illness. It's the precursor of all illness. So I think I would say, yes, 100%. I agree with you, Lana, on the self-love bit. Absolutely. But also we need to, and one of the things, the first step on the self-love thing as well, I think for me, is
Yeah.
learning how to stay calm, learning how to be present. Because so many people in their heads are yesterday or last week or even half an hour ago. That's where they are, or they're in the future. They're anticipating something that hasn't even happened yet. How often do we come back into the present moment and just arrive and be there? And because honestly, for us and for me, I tell you, I'm just as guilty of it. It's work. I have to work at being present.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I don't have to work at. It's finding the things that you love to do that bring you into the present moment, that it doesn't feel like work. And that, for me, that's music. It's having a real good laugh with somebody. You're present then, aren't you? Being with people that you love to be with, being with your partner. I love being with my husband. We have such a laugh together. We have such a good time. And my animals, and yeah, doing what you love is a great reflection from that self-love. If you love yourself enough to want to feel good as much as you can, it's not selfish, because
No.
no, no, it really isn't. But I feel like we've kind of got to this stage, and it's like, oh, why did we start here? But hey, it, people will have to watch it backwards. That'd be a laugh. That'd be a laugh. Watch this backwards. But no, and I think you talking about, with the money and offering people that sliding scale thing, and as long as there's an energy exchange, I'm right there too, because I mean, I'm in your program, Lana, and it's free, isn't it? I mean, it's free at
Yeah.
the moment. I know it's change. I know there'll be different tiers, but I think that is such a generous thing to do, because you put yourself out. You've done all these wonderful videos, which are so valuable and informative and educational and helpful, you know. And people should take the opportunity to at least move in that direction and find out if, and yeah, do it. By the same token, I've got what's happened from my little program that I ran at the beginning of the year on money manifesting in 28 days. I've kind of turned that into it's become a little magical membership. So they're only paying a very minimal fee, £12. I don't know what that is in dollars. It's probably about $16 or something a month.
Yeah.
And I do a live workshop once a month. And there's kind of email support in between, but nobody's really reached out so far, so it's very low maintenance from my point of view, but I still love doing it. I still prepare for it, and it comes round very quickly as the month goes by. But yeah, so
What's the name of your program and where can people find it?
it's called Wealth It's called Wealthy Witches, and you can find it on Substack. It's a Substack newsletter that I send out. So yeah. Or I think I mention it quite often. See, this is where I fall down. I think I mention it as often as I can on my social media, but maybe I should do that more. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and my program is called Magic Keys to Freedom. And it's, it started out being very specifically for people with addictions and substance abuse problems. And by addiction, I mean the across the board. This is not limited to, alcohol and drugs. This is all the things. But even now, I feel like it's really a program for any person who just wants to improve their life. And like, it's not, it's so, it's not so specific in the guidance and the little nuggets of wisdom and the healing that work that we do in it, that people who do not see themselves or do not have addictions or substance abuse problems cannot benefit from it. So in my perspective, it's for any person who wants to get unstuck in any way. and that's at energymagiclove.com. And you'll get all the information you could possibly want about it there, and you can sign up there as well.
Yeah, no, that's a great description, Lana. And of course, they've got those one-to-one sessions with you that, although they take the free stuff, which is available to everybody, the real gold is when they can have a one-to-one session with you and, pay more for that. Yeah, of course, but it's more valuable because then you're honing in on that particular person's journey. You can give your own advice, your own personal advice to them. And on how to use the tools that you have shown generally to people. One might be better. I mean, I'm imagining that's what you do. I mean, that's what you do, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So in a one-on-one session with me, which we should do on one of these days. I'm really excited for our one-on-one session that you're for me to get from you.
Yeah,
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in a one-on-one session with me, I basically ask people, like, what's going on with you? What do you want to change? And then I use a combination of like the energy healing and also neuro-linguistic programming. So this is like an actual like a real thing. all the things I do are real, but it's not quite so mystical. It's like a brain repatterning technique.
Yeah.
Or techniques, because there's just lots of them under that category. And so I use some of that. I use some like etheric surgery where I look at people multidimensionally and I'll like see where the energy isn't flowing, or I'll bring in certain colors and things. And I also work with dragons and fairies and, like lots of kind of magical beings. And so it could really, a session with me could go in any direction, but I usually use a combination of those things together in one time. But I also, there's also, various different ways in which I work with the land, and that can have a really big effect. I feel like, so there are a lot of energetic things that can happen in a person's home or land that can affect their health. Like there can be portals or gateways or earthbound souls that are stuck, that are really causing people's that are causing harm to a person's system. And so that's another way that I work to help people heal and grow, is working with the land as well.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah. And you do that remotely, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It's very rare that I do something in person, although I do like doing group things in person. But no, I do everything via Zoom at this point. I used to just do distance sessions where I didn't even talk to a person during the session. I just like did my magics. But, that's one of those things that I've graduated away from. And now I really enjoy the interaction that can happen through Zoom where I can find out what's going on and hear, and I can explain to them what I'm doing while I'm doing it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, and it goes through your higher self and blah, 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 so I think that adds another dimension that's really very helpful for people in their healing.
Yeah. Lovely. Okay. I think that's probably about it, don't you, Lana?
Yeah, I think we can call it.
The day.
Yeah.
A wrap. Call it a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Yeah. But we'll have to do it again.
I would love to. I'm in.
I think so. We'll get the promote it a bit more, maybe. I don't know. I think we've done as much as we can this time. I don't want to make too much work for myself. Do you? Anyway.
Let's let these lovely people go, and we can discuss that.
We'll go backstage into the green room. Well, thank you, whoever's managed to stay with us or is watching the replay in another time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you got something out of it. Because it's unscripted. We were just chatting normally, and I found it interesting, and I always find it inspirational talking to you, Lana. Anyway, you really do inspire me, and yeah, and that's why I don't need a script or anything, because I know that I'll know what to say. Do you know what I mean? I trust that I will know what to say, and it just, that's the way it happens. I think magic does happen when we get together, which is really quite special. It doesn't happen with everybody like this, and so I think that people hopefully will have got something out of it. Let us know if you have, people. There's some thank you both from Ali Broughton. Thank you very much for watching, Ali. And yeah, move in. If you feel like you want to take up with Lana or take up with me, then move in either of our direction, because we both do things on an individual basis with people. So everyone is welcome. But if not, we'll get together again and we'll let you all know when we're going to have a chat, and about different stuff. We can move in a different direction, perhaps, and maybe have a bit more interaction with our audience, because I haven't been able to see any comments. Most of my audience is on Facebook, you see, and Facebook hasn't worked. But anyway, that's by the by. It doesn't matter. Technology is, you're still going on Facebook and Instagram, so hopefully something will have happened that end. Anyway, Lana, thank you for joining me, and yeah, it's been brilliant, hasn't it? It's been great.
It has been really lovely. I do just want to put this out there again: SheenaCundy.com. So just her name.com. My name, LanaBorealis.com. We are both on Facebook. We are both on Instagram. We are both on YouTube. And so we're in all the places. So find us, follow us, like all of our videos and all of our posts, and join us in this magical realm. Thank you so much, Sheena. It has been such a joy.
Thank you, Lana. And I'll see you backstage, and have a good rest of your magical full moon day and night, everybody. Okay? Magic happens. Take care of yourself. Lots of love. Yeah. Bye.